Hey dude, this is Jaden Storm coming at you from Team Shadow Strike, and this is going to be another deck profile / discussion video, because I was sent a question when I was on sabbatical from being sick, that it was, can you still make older decks competitive? And the answer to that question is, they can still be competitive as far as, you know, locals for sure, but anything above that, that is strictly opinionated, and I guess it depends on the deck. But I'm going to be talking about a deck that most of you should know. But it's a deck that I have fond memories of building and playing against. This deck, it was inspired. I ended up building it because the deck, I very first came across this deck when my friend Cody first built it. And Cody's just a really, really good friend of mine. And I kind of built it because it kind of symbolized my friendship with him. And I just have my own fond memories of playing against him when he was using it, playing it myself, you know, so. It's just a deck that's just really cool, you know, and so anyway, I'm going to jump straight into it. I'm going to explain how you can still make this deck competitive, and maybe you can apply the tips that I give you in this video to other decks that you like and try and make them still competitive yourself. So I hope that the things that I talk about help you, so let's just jump straight into it. Now, immediately looking at this deck, you should already know what it is, because it's right there. Spectral Duke Dragon. Gold Paladin, you know, a very popular deck. Like I said, most everybody who's played Vanguard has seen this ride chain once. You know, I know we're in a completely different world now. We're in Legion. The game is fast. You know, but I can't help but just, like, still want to play these kind of decks. I just love them. So I did my best to make Spectral Duke Dragon competitive. So, whoops. So I just did my best to make this deck as competitive as possible, and you know, I just wanted to share it with you guys and share some of the tips that I give you that I applied when I was using this, and maybe it can help you make an older deck that you really enjoyed playing against or playing, to making it being able to, if not, you know, win the World Championship, but to maybe do well at your locals. So for the starter, obviously we run Black Dragon Whelp Voldemort. So for his ability, we know what it does, right? Basically, when we ride the Grade 1 onto him, we get to look at the top 7 cards and add either Black Dragon Knight Voldemort or Spectral Duke Dragon to our hand. And then his other ability is if Black Dragon Whelp is in the soul, he gains plus 1,000 power. And then his other skill is, when you ride the Grade 2 part of your chain on top of him, you're going to get to look at the... wait, I'm not even to him yet. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. So his ability, when he rides on top, you look at the top 7 cards for one of these. So I'm getting ahead of myself there, guys. I apologize. And then for the triggers, we play 4 Flame of Victory, 4 Strike Liberator, 2 Daunticle, and 2 Silent Punisher. That's right, guys. You counted that right. That is 12 crits. Now, this deck, it would be hard for you to take classic Spectral Duke Dragon to a tournament, being in a game now that has break rides with devastating effects, and a game that has Legion now. It might be harder to get this deck to do satisfactory to your expectations. But playing 12 crit, it always improves, you know, your win percentage, because, you know, if your opponent's at 3 damage and they say no guard, and they don't know that they're playing against a 12 crit deck, you have a severe chance, you have a pretty decent chance of just winning the game right there. Because, oh, I'm going to check the Twin Drive. Crit, crit. All effects crits to my Vanguard. Power to my other rear guards in case you manage how to death heal out of this. You know, I mean, so 12 crit. You know, I mean, it's a pretty simple tactic. You know, I mean, there's not a whole lot of thought process here, so I'm not going to act like there is. And then 4 heal triggers, because, you know, we need heal triggers. Okay, grade 1s. We play 4 copies of Scout of Darkness Vortimor. So his ability is when the grade 2 part of the ride chain rides on top of him, you may sacrifice 1 rear guard and look at the top 2 cards and superior call it. And then his other skill is if Black Dragon Whelp is in the soul, he gains plus 1,000, making him 8,000 power when he's on your Vanguard circle. So next we play 4 copies of Halo Shield Mark. These are my original Gold Paladin Perfects, and I just will never be able to get rid of these. I just these perfect guards have seen a lot of play. Ever since my first Gold Paladin deck, which was Ezel, and then became an Ezel Pelennor deck, and then went from Spectral Duke. I mean, I just went all over the place. So 4 Mark. Quintet walls are not even plausible in this deck. Do not even try them. Then, obviously, since my trigger lineup, I'm playing all these critical triggers, I don't have much draw power. And one of the things that you have to look for when you're playing a deck that is older, such as Spectral Duke, is you need to have pluses in the deck. Well, luckily, the Spectral Duke ride chain has plenty of pluses built into it with the 2 turns of superior calling you can do. But you always want to look for those opportunities when you can plus. So I'm playing 4 copies of the Listener of Truth, Dendraine. Her ability lets you Soul Blast a card and draw a card if she is called out of the deck. So the 2 turns that you superior call, you might be able to flip one of these over and draw an additional card. Because after you've done all your superior writing or superior calling, all you really need in the soul is Black Dragon Knights. Because if you go, okay, bam, bam, say this is a rear guard, and then you go ride, sacrifice, check out the top 2, because Black Dragon Whelp Vortimor has to be in the soul for this, because of his ability. Call the 2, Soul Blast this away, and you're set. And then he has no more business in the soul, so you can Soul Blast that away to get that plus. So that's just there, you know, it's there to have an advantage to plus. You want to have pluses floating in a deck that is considered no longer top tier. And then for the last grade 1, 3 copies of the Knight of Elegant Skills, Gareth. This is just to help you create columns to hit magic numbers. For the grade 2s, 4 copies of Dark Dragon Knight Vortimor. So Vortimor's skill is the exact same as Scout of Darkness Vortimor. Whenever Spectral Duke Dragon rides on top of Vortimor, you may sacrifice 1 rear guard, look at the top 2 cards, and superior call them both, as long as you have Scout in the soul. So, for grade 2 Vortimor, and also if you have Scout of Darkness in the soul, he becomes 10,000. So for the rest of the grade 2s, we play 4 copies of Knight of Superior Skills Bowmains. The reason is you can form easy columns with him to help you push big numbers. You don't really, you can't really fit. You really just need these just for the 10K body. You know, again, guys, you got to remember, this deck may not, it's no longer as good as it once was, but there are ways that you can still make this deck compatible. You just have to, you just got to get a little creative. And then for the last grade 2, even though this the grade 2 line isn't even that creative, but 3 copies of Mage of Calamity Trip. This is our damage on flipper whenever she hits a Vanguard. So, you know, guys, I mean, the grade 2 lineup, like I said, you have to get creative, but there's really not a whole lot of creativity here. You just have to take advantage of what you can to make the deck as best as you can. So, and then for the grade 3s, we play 4 copies of Spectral Duke Dragon. Now, Spectral Duke Dragon is his ability is when you ride. Well, I already covered him. I don't know why I keep going back to him. Well, first off is if you have Black Dragon Knight Vortimer in the Soul, he gets plus 1,000 power, making him 11,000. And then Spectral Duke Dragon, his ability is Limit Break. After he has attacked a Vanguard, you may Counterblast 2, sacrifice 3 rearguards, and restand, but he loses the Twin Drive. That is a downer, but you know, he's still a pretty good card. You know, I mean, he is Spectral Duke for God's sake. I mean, he was extremely popular in ways I bet he still is. But you know, 4 Spectral Dukes. So. And then for the last grade 3, I'm going to leave the Spectrals here, actually. For the last grade 3, I play 3 copies of Salvation Lion Grand Ezel Scissors. Now, when I was building Amber Dragons, I kind of wanted to put a Spectral deck back together as well. But I was like, well, I don't really know what else to mix with it. And then I thought of Grand Ezel Scissors. You know, I mean, it's a good idea because, you know, he can help you on flip damage, you know, and things like that. And if you have worn your opponent down with Spectral Duke, you can always just ride into Ezel to finish the game. Ezel's ability, we all know what it is. Limit Break, Counterblast 2, and Soul Blast 2. You unlock all of your locked cards if you have any. And then he gains plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical if you have 5 rear guards. And then his other ability is whenever he attacks, he gains plus 1,000 for each of other Gold Paladin on the field. So, that is pretty much it, guys. That is... So that is my Spectral Duke deck and kind of a few tips on just how you can make maybe an old deck that you really enjoyed, making it compatible. Look for new cards that can benefit it. You know, you just need to realize that back then we really didn't have a whole lot of clan specifications, like Gold Paladins became Liberators. We don't really have that. So if it... you just need to look for the new cards that you can splash in and make it better. Which Ezel was one of those cards, because Ezel does not require anything special. So, you know, some people are like, well, why don't you play 12k attackers for Ezel? Well, he's not really going to be the Vanguard all the time. You know, he's only going to be there, you know, half the time. So I really don't see the point of playing 12k attackers, because if you're on Spectral Duke Dragon, they're just kind of worthless. So that's why I went with bow mains over the 12k attacker, just for consistency issues again. So anyway, guys, you know, just to review the tips. Look for pluses. Go for the simpler trigger lineups, which playing older decks, I would recommend 12 crit for those decks, just because it gives you a more beatdown strategy, and that can help them just be a lot more consistent. Stay away from the quintet walls on your grade 1 lineup. Look for cards that you can use, like I showed you that I can with Dendrain to plus off of, just to generate more of a plus, because you want the more pluses that you have, the better. And like I said, you know, Spectral Duke is it's a ride chain that has pluses built into the engine of the deck, so it does have that going for it, you know. But anyway, I hope this helped you in some which way. You know, maybe it'll inspire you to put together an old deck that you like doing. One thing that I am going to be putting back together, even though I know the deck is not tournament play legal, is I'm going to be putting together my old Barkle Soul Saver deck when I finally get all the cards. you know, just because that deck was just so much fun for me to play, and I want to have it back together, just so I always have it. So when I do have that put back together, I'm going to do a deck profile on that, guys, just to share it with you, because I don't know if I ever put that. I don't think that deck ever made it to. I think I started my YouTube channel after Barkle had already been, you know, sayonara'd. But anyway, guys, that is my Spectral Duke Ezel variant. You know. So I hope, you know, I'm not claiming that it's the most creative build in the world. I just tried to make it a little more compatible, if, you know, because Spectral Duke, it's just a deck I enjoy playing. You know, I have some of my fondest memories playing against Cody with when he was using his Spectral deck, because we just had some great matches, because I was playing Ezel a lot and he was playing Spectral, and so I decided to just put this deck back together just because I wanted to. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. So in the comment section below, make sure you leave me some feedback. Make sure you leave me a suggestion or something like that. Let me pull this up now, guys. Remember, guys, I have an open video suggested policy. So if there's a certain video you'd like to see, all you gotta do is ask for it, and I will do my best to make it for you guys. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I will see you next time.